All right, party people. This your man Griff. Whoo, boy, oh boy. All right, right off the bat, y'all know what it is. The 13th of this month, we got our wonderful training. The 13th at 12, 14th at 3, and it's our 3 hour Zoom training on notary certificates, everything you need to know, and then some on how to fill out notarial certificates. Don't matter what state you're in. Um, go and registration is right down here at the bottom. I'm telling you, 3 hours, best 3 hours you're going to spend for a great price of just $40. We have 10 people in the classroom at the most, so that way everybody get their questions answered, and we just take our time and go through each and every type that we can. If you have notarial certificates that you're a little iffy about, you don't understand the language, what to do in certain situations, all of that. So we're going to cover all of that, as well as any other questions that you may have concerning the notary business and everything. So let me put my phones on vibrate, and let me see what's going on here. Okay. All right. Let me tell. All right. Hold on 1 second. All right. So I think we are good to go. I got that on vibrate. Let me put my other phone on vibrate. Okay, that's already on there. And let me turn the volume down so I can keep an eye on stuff. So yeah, so we're gonna talk about contracts tonight. Way to go, new member. Glad you joined. We got a lot of stuff in there, so you're gonna love the stuff. What's going on, Caprentice? Yeah, I finally got that. Oh my goodness. That one split signing me and you was talking about. Man, I got that thing done in 20 minutes. I get there, and one of my pet peeves is the smoke detector beeping. And that guy's smoke detector was just a beeping and a beeping and a beeping. I was like, Lord have mercy. I said, I can't believe it. I was like, I got to get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? I got to get up out of here. So that was just tearing me up. And it said not doing much notary work, but learn so much from you, Griff. I appreciate that. Now, what's going on? Why you not doing much notary work? Slow down in your area, or you pivoted to something different? What's going on, Greg? Became a new member again. Now, let me share something with y'all. I did a video. I forgot to post it to the members. I may still post it. I don't know. I may still post it, but today I was scared for the first time in 7 years in going to a signing. I pulled up into a particular neighborhood in Norfolk, and what I will tell you is that that um, I was over there on what is called A Avenue in Norfolk, Virginia, and what I will tell you is that it was not really looking that safe for me out there. Um, it really, really wasn't. It really wasn't. Um, and I was like, I don't know what's about to happen to me. I'm not gonna lie. So my man Greg, he just gifted 10 channel memberships. If you're new to to me, get the channel membership. I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna love it. We get down and dirty, and if I can't, I should be able to do a members only meeting tomorrow evening. After I do my training from 3 till 6. I mean, I'm talking about noon to 3. Then I got some house inspections. then swing back over and kick it with y'all. All right, for those of y'all who not doing college Saturday and stuff. They had three separate title companies reach out to me today, say they found me on Notary Rotary. That's good. I made that profile a year ago. All three are set for Monday, $100 a pop. Just so weird though. I know. Hold on. Let me tell my man. Let's talk tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Talk to the man. All right. Yeah. So I was straight up nervous because as I was driving out of there, I was like, hold on, hold on. After 3 p.m. is good for me. All right. Yeah, pardon me. I want to chop it up. So I'm telling you right now, I was scared. I'm driving down the road trying to get out of there, and I see groups of people, folk. This was just straight hood. And I was just scared. I was like, Lord, what's going to happen to me? I was worried that somebody was going to step out in front of my car, anything, So, yeah. And I've been in that neighborhood before, but it didn't register to me what was going on. So, lesson learned, lesson learned. So that won't be happening to me again. I'm serious. So how's everything been going with everybody before we get started tonight? And again, hey, hello to you. That's right. Great job, Jess. Excellent, excellent. Yep, my man Caprentice. And again, Greg, he gifted 10 channel memberships. So if you're in there, grab your channel membership. And we love to help you out as best we can. Overall, things have been coming along good with me. And like I said, we got training tomorrow, noon. The link is in the description. 3 hours, we're going to chop it up. And then again on Sunday for 3 hours, we're going to chop it up. I know it's football season, but give me a little bit of your time and I promise you'll be set straight. And the registration is right there. You see it. You see it right there, as well as in the description. All right. So things have been coming along good. I really don't even know where I'm at so far this month. I haven't done any counting of how much work I have done this right here. So I am at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Hold on. 19, 20, 21, 22, 3, 4, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. So 38 for the first 15 days of the month because I don't have anything this weekend. So that's good. That's keeping me on pace. So 38 is good. 38 is good. I've had some general notary work, got a lot more direct work. Got a lot more direct work. So things have been coming along real good for me. And I hope everything's been coming along good for y'all and stuff. My man said first week in 2 months with 0 calls, slow. It'll pick up next week. I know. Yeah. So when I talk about stuff, sometimes some of the subjects that I get come from me listening to other notaries talk about things. And then I listen to what they're saying, and I don't sometimes hear the solution. You know what I'm saying? I don't hear a solution to the thing that they're talking about, and I analyze what they're saying. So when I'm responding, it's not against the person. Okay. I will say this. Even though a lot of the people in this industry who are saying certain things or suggesting certain things, pointing out or what have you, are women, just because I'm speaking opposite or challenging or questioning or trying to get clarification of what they said doesn't mean that I'm against women. I just got to be clear with you. So just because me as a man, I'm saying something about something that a young lady said doesn't mean I have a problem with women, whether they black, white, whatever. Okay. I'm dealing with the content of what they are saying and trying to get a clear understanding of where we're going. One of the things that I've always shared with y'all is that people pay you for the problems you solve, not the ones you create. Glass is a little dirty. So, what are you doing to solve problems and present a viable solution? You see what I'm saying? That's the question. What are you doing to present a viable solution? It's nothing wrong with identifying a problem. It's just like any relationship. Because remember now, we are business owners dealing with other business entities. And our entity may have a problem with another business entity. So we have to find a way to present that problem to them, come up with a solution that is good for both, not just one sided. And yes, a lot of stuff currently in the notary business is very one sided. I'm not denying that. But when you have a relationship problem, meaning relating to people, relating to an entity, you just can't complain about it without providing a viable solution. And what I hear out here is solutions that aren't viable, because one of the things that we as notaries got to do, and what we need to make sure we realize, whenever you present yourself to another person about something you disagree with them on, or the agreement you're in with them, you don't like it, like your job, you want higher pay, better working hours, better working conditions, so forth and so on. One of the things that the person who is making the complaint, bringing it to their attention, you got to make sure you're doing your part right. If you're not doing your part right, then they're like, why would I need to listen to you? Do your part, then I'll do mine. When you are doing what you're supposed to do and you're not giving them a reason to have something over you, for as you're doing illegal notarizations, backdating documents, so forth and so on, not getting proper IDs, not swearing people in. When you don't have that hovering over your head, you can have a little bit more clearer conversation with them to negotiate some better terms. Because with everything, the first thing they do is they look to see, are you doing what you're supposed to do? So when we talk about contracts for service, you really got to make sure you understand contract law. You got to understand what your state law says that you can and can't do, or should or shouldn't be done with regards to service contracts, before you say, let me put you under contract. Because that's what everybody's saying now. Men and women, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you name it. And they've been saying this for years. We need to have the notary need to have a contract to the person that we're working with, which is the signing company. It's I don't know how that's going to work per se, because our contracts with them is only temporary. It's for the moment, meaning here's what we want from you, you do it, and we don't have to choose you again. I think the times where those contracts come into play could be when, if you're going to have a long-term relationship. So how do you develop a long-term relationship with, we'll just say, coast to coast or first class or Notary Go? How do you, and Notary Go is really a notary database, but with the entities that use them, how do you develop a long-term contract with each and every individual one? And you have to make sure that, yes, it meets your need, but it also meets their needs. And when you're talking about putting someone under contract, it can't just be to put them under contract just so you can say, give me my money. It's not about you doing a contract just so you can get paid. Okay. what do you think about the non-competes in a contract? Um, those in most cases are illegal. Okay, those are those are illegal in most cases, and this is where you have to use your legal shield because they can say whatever they want in the contract, but it doesn't mean that it is viable because part of the issue when it comes to contracts, they can't restrict you as a 1099 or as an independent contractor from working with other people. If they start restricting you from working with other people, then that means they're working with you as a employee. You see what I'm saying? So you have to make sure that you understand what the rules are with regards to how you are allowed to work as an independent contractor. They need to do the same. But a lot of the signing companies, I don't think they've done due diligence. I think what they are doing is just taking a boilerplate service contract and saying I'm gonna do it and just stick their name on it, and they're white labeling it. A lot of people are white labeling it. I wish I could remember where I had because I had a whole list of stuff where I did that last. I talked about it in a couple of videos ago where I was going down breaking down all of the hold on. I want to say yeah, talking about independent contractor agreements and stuff. Hold on one second. Hold on. Because I had a whole slew. I have to find it. But a couple of videos back on Fritter Fridays, I did a thing and I showed all of the different stuff about independent contractor agreements and all of that stuff. So, but yeah, you have to find out. And this is where using the legal shield that you have to develop one, putting somebody under contract. Because earlier today, and I'll do it again here. What does the term putting someone under contract mean? All right. So let me take this down for a second. So putting someone under contract means to formally and legally bind a person or entity to a set of promises and obligations for a specified period of time. It turns a verbal agreement into a legally enforceable document. Okay. So that's just a simple definition. This is deepseek.com. Okay, I'm gonna get to you in a second, Greg. So that's a simple definition. The offer, one party makes an offer. I will pay you $50,000 a year to work as a graphic designer. Acceptance, the other party accepts the offer. I accept the job and the salary. Consideration, this, that, and the other, service for money, all of that. Mutual asset, meeting of the mind. Both parties must understand and agree to the same essential terms and intend to be bound by them. Both parties must be legally competent to enter the contract. The purpose of the contract must be legal. Okay. So why do people use contracts? Use it to create and manage risk, to provide a clear framework for the relationship of and protect both parties. So this is where I'm saying you have to think clearly about the contract. There's nothing wrong with it. So it says, keep in mind, Notary requires a NDA and contact, and we do not allow you to work elsewhere, but you are an employee, not a contractor. Correct. So as an employee, that is allowed. So in other words, the notary works for us only. So that's the thing. You are an employee. Once you become an employee, that's different. as an independent contractor, you are coming in for a small set of time to get such and such done. And it could be just once a week, twice a day, or what have you. That's the thing. You have to sit down and really work all of that. It says prevents poaching. A contract can include clauses and this, that, and the other. So, and a lot of times they call it independent contractor agreements. It's an agreement for services and things of that nature. But one of the things that I want to go back to, it says one party makes an offer. So in this case with us, the party of the signing company is making an offer saying, I will pay you X amount of dollars to do this job. And you say either yay or nay. Now, granted, one of the fallacies is that we don't get to see the contract before accepting the order. I don't think that is correct. And I think a good lawyer could reverse that. And I don't see any reason why the signing companies can't post those independent contractor agreements ahead of time on these notary platforms or on their own website, and then let you know, why am I no, and let you know, hey, if you before working with us, look at the independent contractor agreement. Personally, if I started a signing company, that's what I would do. I would say, here's the independent contractor agreement. Look at it first. Look at it first before accepting this order and make sure you understand. Okay. I will give you time before you, and I would have to work with the platform to say, make sure this is out there. Okay. Anybody who signs up, push my service agreement out to them. Push it out to them. Make it available. You see what I'm saying? I think there should be a link in your profile, in your dashboard, service contract agreements for all the companies that are on that site. Now, whether you read it or not, that's a different story. But I think it should be made available to us prior to even doing anything with any company. That's what I feel. Okay. Now, part of the reason why they don't do it is because they don't want you going back and forth. And I get that. Another reason why they don't want people to know who they are before they start sending orders out is because they don't want to be getting inundated with all these phone calls about give me an order, give me an order. I get that also, but that's the cost of doing business. I think the proper way to do it would be simply, we need to have that stuff up front so we can make an informed decision. Now, since that's not the case, once we get the order, we look at the contract agreement and then we're like, okay, I'm either cool with it or I'm not. And then the question is, does this violate something within my state laws? And that's what I did for a video a couple of weeks ago, broke that down and showed y'all all of that. So now all of this is before you need to think about before you get to writing a contract. Because when you go to somebody saying, I want to put you under contract, I want to come into a contractual agreement, you got to really make sure you have your terms and your duration defined. You see what I'm saying? So the question is, hold on. What is, and ask any questions you want between a contract and an agreement. So I'm asking, what is the difference between a contract and an agreement? Okay. So, because this is a key, okay? Y'all know I love getting knowledge. Transparency is good for all parties. That is right, Alex. That is right. You got to have transparency, because I'm gonna tell you right now, if you ask any notary, why do you want to have a contract with Coast to Coast? The two things, what do you want in that contract? The two things that every notary wants is this: I want guaranteed pay, and I want to be paid more than, more frequently than what I've been paid. That's the thing that you want. So coming back is like, okay, in order for me to pay you this $200 a signing and to pay you every week, we need some assurances from you. So now the question is, what are you? And that's what we were just talking about, my man. Glad you said it again. The question is, what are you, the notary, willing to do? Because once we assign you an order, you can't back out. So the contract, so for us, once we say, hey, the order is for 200, it's going to be at 4 o'clock, but for some reason it gets delayed, you can't back out. You got to stick with it through the duration. You can't say, oh, well, because your order now it's going to run into this. No, 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 no. I got you locked in. I'm going to pay you weekly. I'm paying you 200 more than what I probably want to pay. So I need something back from you. And what I want from you is this. Now the question is, do you want to give them that? Are you willing to give them that? A notary certificate can in order to make them compliant. I've seen yes and no. Well, you don't have to. You can edit a notarial certificate in Adobe, but the easier way is just to use a notarial certificate that is actually in compliance with your state laws. And that's one of the plus things with the NNA, or you can create your own notarial certificate in accordance with your state law. If you look at your notary handbook for your state, it gives you the format for what a notarial certificate should be for your state. So you don't necessarily have to edit somebody else's. And that's what we talk about in the training that we're doing on tomorrow and Sunday. You don't have to edit someone else's. You can just use yours. You can use the one that in compliance with your state. Even for a loan document, correct. Even if it's a loan document and the notarial certificate is not correct, the only editing you really need to do, let's just say if the venue is wrong, you change that. Um, if you need to have like or need to add the venue, if there's certain elements that your state says that needs to be in there, you add them, and that's what we cover in the training. And I got videos out there already that talks about that in the notary playlist. But it says agreement spells out the terms of the contract. So, and then it says, where can I get the information on training? In the description of this video. So the training that I'm doing right now is, thank you, appreciate you. The training that I'm doing is helping people understand notarial certificates and dealing with those. It's not about explaining documents. It's not about articulating documents. It's not about marketing or none of that stuff. It's not about prepping documents. It's all about understanding notarial certificates. That's what I'm teaching. Okay. So let's go back to this question here. Let's see what it talks about. Okay. So let's take our time with this, people. All right. I'm checking something here. All right. So it says, of course, this is an excellent question because the terms are often used interchangeably in everyday language, but they have a distinct legal meanings. Okay. So here's the simple way to understand it. I hope this is large enough. If it's not, if y'all can, hopefully y'all can see this. All contracts are agreements, but not all agreements are contracts. An agreement is a broader, informal understanding between two or more parties. A contract is a specific type of agreement that is legally enforceable. The key difference lies in legally enforceable. Okay. So this is why I'm saying when people get out here and they start running off at the mouth, male, female, young, old, black, white, I don't care. And they start saying we need to do something. The first thing we need to do is, okay, let's define this. Let's look this up. We need some more information on this here. Okay, something ain't right here. What is this? So what is an agreement? An agreement is a mutual understanding between parties about their rights and responsibilities regarding a common purpose. It can be written, verbal, or even implied by conduct. Basis, a meeting of the minds or a shared intention. Enforceable, not necessarily legally enforceable. Many agreements are based on trust and goodwill. Scope, broad, it covers any arrangement between parties. Example, I'll give you 20 to drive me to the airport. Your friend says, sure, sounds good. Dot, dot, dot. A contract. A contract is a legally binding agreement for a promise or an agreement to be considered a contract and to be enforceable in a court of law. It must contain certain essential elements. An agreement that meets all necessary legal elements, always legally enforceable. If one party breaks it, the other can seek a legal remedy like suing for damages. Specific and narrow. It must fit a legal definition. So when people say that we need to put somebody under contract, you're talking about taking yourself and going to another business entity and say, I want to have something binding you that I can sue you in case you don't do dot dot dot. So if you don't pay me 200, if you don't pay me once a week, if there's more than 100 pages in the loan packet and you don't pay me extra, I can sue you for damages or whatever you think are damages. Okay. That's the difference. So y'all got to stop getting on the hype train when everybody's like, yeah, we're going to make them do us this way. How? Nobody got to sign your contract. You can write any contract you want, but they ain't got to sign it and they can just move on from you. So here's you want a contract that they give you a certain amount of work. Now, I have a lot of agreements with my direct clients. My direct client says, hey, we need your notarial help. I said, I can give you my notarial help. They said, we'll pay you. How much do you want to get paid? I said, well, my fee is this. They said, that works for us. They send me a notification or they call me or however, and they say, hey, are you available on such and such day? I say, yes, I am. Can you do it at such and such time? Yes, I can. Thank you. We'll send you the documents. At that point, it's known that I'm supposed to take the documents, get them signed, and ship them back. And if I do that aspect of the agreement, they're going to do that aspect of the agreement and pay me. And they say, send me an invoice. Here's the invoice for this date, to be paid by this time. I always put 14 days, but if it's a little bit longer or whatever, that's fine with me because I know they're going to pay me. And then boom. Sometimes they say, hey, the document, the signing has been delayed. It's going to be next week instead of this week. Are you still available? Yes, I am. The agreement that we talked about last week and that we already know existed, boom, let's keep it going. And I've been working with this company for over a year and a half. Another company I've been working with for almost 2 years. No formal written contract. It's understood that if they need me and I'm available, I provide the proper service. So now you're talking about me going to that same company that I got a good agreement with and now telling them, you need to do what? Pay me and do this, that, and the other under this contract so that I can have you legally bound for X amount of time. Now, the question is, what are you doing? What assurances are you going to give them in order to make sure that they can be happy? Because remember, the contract got to be good for both people. The contract got to meet both people's needs. And if you're not willing to concede to what their needs are, then why would they go into a contract with you? Mm-mm-mm. But see, everything starts with you. Because here's the thing. If you as a business owner don't have your act together, not reliable, not dependable, then why would I go on a contract with you? You can't do closings correctly. You can't show up on time. You dress any old kind of way. You talking all kinds of stuff at the closing table. No, we're not going to use you whatsoever. No, we don't want to be in a contract with you. So now let me take a quick break and let me play some clips off of Instagram for y'all. I want y'all to hear this. This is about leadership because in order for you to go to somebody talking about you want them to be in contract with you, that means now they have to go look at you as a leader and whether or not you know what the heck you're doing and managing and running your business correctly. Okay. So if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna click on these and play these. I like to play them twice. And then real quick, let me know if y'all can't hear. I believe I got the share straight this time where I got the audio playing and stuff and everything. All right. So hold on one second. Mute my microphone.
The weather. Your energy is the weather at your company. If you're frustrated and stressed out, guess what the weather is in your company. Your job as a leader is to make sure that people understand the outcomes that define success and the outcomes that they're supposed to achieve every week. If somebody consistently does not do that, you either have a problem with skills or training. And in my experience, at least if I'm calling myself out, it's always in my lack of training and my lack of clarity, of communication, of what I expect. If you have clearly communicated to somebody what your expectations are for them to do a good job, then you've done your job as a boss, and now you got to let them do their job. And if they continue to screw up, let me give you feedback. If they continue to screw up, let me lay you off. First of all, leaders bring the weather. Your energy is the weather at your company. If you're frustrated and stressed out, guess what the weather is in your company. Your job as a leader is to make sure that people understand the outcomes that define success and the outcomes that they're supposed to achieve every week. If somebody consistently does not do that, you either have a problem with skills or training. And in my experience, at least if I'm calling myself out, it's always in my lack of training and my lack of clarity, of communication, of what I expect. If you have clearly communicated to somebody what your expectations are for them to do a good job, then you've done your job as a boss, and now you got to let them do their job. And if they continue to screw up, let me give you feedback. If they continue to screw up, let me lay you off.
Now, that was clear. That was clear. Y'all stick with me now. Okay, stick with me. That was clear. So you got to be doing a good job, because remember, as a business owner, you are your first employee, as my wife always says. So if you don't hold yourself accountable, how are you going to put somebody else in contract? You got to show yourself above reproach. And you got to prove to them that you're doing a great job. You have to have a track record that they can refer back to say, oh, okay, yes, we trust Griff. We trust Griffin Notary. We know he's going to do a good job. We trust, KDub 79 Notary Services, because we know they're going to do a good job. But a lot of us don't have that. And if you're just starting out in business and you haven't even gotten that many notarial opportunities, you have no proof of concept to show them. Because when you don't just hand somebody a contract and say, sign this, that says you're going to pay me when I want you to pay me, and you're going to pay me how much I want you to pay me. You got to put some thought into the contract. And you have to understand their needs, and you have to find a way to make them understand your needs. And you have to be willing to give up certain desires, as well as they have to be willing to give up certain desires. Because this here contract that you're talking about coming into is a relationship that is legally binding, which means not only can you sue them, they can sue you. And you got to be thinking about that. So that's why I'm saying, don't just get all hyped up when somebody talks about we need to put every single person under contract. You got to understand what that contract means and what happens if you don't come through. What happens if you end up getting sick and you can't do your part? What are your contingencies? Because if you don't have that written in your contract, they have every legal right to sue you. You get what I'm saying? They have every right. Oh, they have every right to sue you. Okay? Every right to sue you. Because in your contract, you probably forgot to say, if I'm sick, you can't sue me, because if I'm sick, I just can't go. But then how do we know you're sick? What's the proof? We need proof that you're sick. Where's your doctor's note? This, that, or the other. All of this in a contract so that you're legally protected. See, that's the aspect that these people out here don't think about. They're just telling you to do stuff and all of that. So let's go on to the next video.
As a man, right? The pursuit.
All right.
Of friendship is to find someone who's willing to grow with you. Now, the big caveat is, are you willing to grow yourself? Are you willing to grow yourself? And I think where people get stuck, and this is the saddest part, I hear people tell me, I have no close friends. They have friends they hang out with, people they have a good time with, go out, play video games with, whatever it is, you know? But they wouldn't call any of them to say I'm struggling. And so that's where the loneliness sets in. And there is some degree of accountability there, right? Where we can play the victim. And to be a victim means I'm not accountable. Right? That's what it is. It is being done to me, but I'm a passive player in this. Right? And even if that's true, you still have a role in this thing called your life. You're the actor in this play, right? You still have a role to play. And so even if things are being done to you, how you respond is you, right? How you respond to conflict is you. You can choose to just disengage. I've seen that happen professionally. I've seen it happen personally. Something goes haywire, whether they deserve it or not. And they choose to just disengage. Well, screw this. As opposed to learning how to have a confrontation, which doesn't mean coming and screaming and yelling and pointing. It means saying, I am struggling. There is a story that I'm telling myself. I don't know if it's true or not, but can I tell you my story?
One of the things that I've learned in business, you have to have somebody you can talk to and vent to and share your concerns, your feelings, but you got to be honest with yourself. If you can't be honest with yourself, you're not going to be honest with the person you got under contract. You'll start lying. You'll start making up excuses. You have to accept the fact that, okay, yes, I'm struggling. This is too much for me. All I wanted you to do was just pay me $200 and pay me once a week. This is too much for me because now there's a requirement on me and I can't handle it. This is why, as a business owner, you got to have business partners that you can talk about. So all these people who are getting you hyped up, can they be a true friend, a true business partner, or something that you can talk to, that you can vent to, that won't allow you to play the victim, but will be honest with you and help you grow? That's what the channel membership is about. So I talk to people, and there's people who I talk to outside of the channel membership, but as well as inside of it. And I'm giving my opinion. I'm like, hey, ... Caprentice is one. Me and Caprentice talk. I share with him. He tells me, hey, this, that, and the other. I say, hey, man, I would think about this. And he'll let me know, yeah, that sounds good, but maybe you do it this way. And my wife. So I have people that I conversate with. I don't just come up with stuff just to be coming up with it. Even with the training that I'm doing tomorrow, I thought about that for months. And I talked to my wife, talked to a few other people, and to get a clear-cut understanding how I could do it. And then I was like, okay, now I know how to do it. Okay?
3 months.
All right. So this next one, I believe this is the Jimmy John's founder.
Most important things to be a great manager. Number one, management must manage. Number two, management must manage. Number three, management must manage. And you know what? If management was easy, everybody would do it.
Right.
But it's your willingness to be way more uncomfortable than others are willing to be that allows excellent managers to be managers.
What do people think managing is, and tell me what it really is?
It's a total awareness all the time, 24/7 of everything going on that you're involved with or you're responsible for. You've got to stay on it and stay on it and stay on it. So effective leaders lead by example, and they stay on it and they follow up and they audit a lot. And the best managers are the best auditors. You can only expect what you're willing to inspect. So darn it, do it, you know?
Yeah. Now, this is great because we know that there's this negative thing called micromanagement. From your point of view, what is the key to make sure that you're doing everything you just said, but also not micromanaging? In other words, you're not you are relinquishing control. You seem to be that guy. You were aware, but you also allowed people to do the job.
The stuff that I knew that exactly had to be done exactly this way, I micromanaged it to death. The baking the bread, the making the sandwich, the spreading the mail, all the stuff that related to the customer experience, you know, the temperature of the store, the music in the store.
See, I hear that and I go, I don't think that's micromanaging, because micromanaging is where you are not allowing anybody to do the thing. What I see you doing is you are a guy who believed in systems.
Yeah.
And systems then created a culture. In other words, you know, it was process, which is a system.
Yeah.
And then that becomes culture.
Yeah.
And I just think when I'm just giving you props, because I don't think you were micromanaging. You're going, this is the way to clean a toilet.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, John Wooden from the legendary UCLA basketball team, first thing he did, Jimmy, before every season started, the first practice, he'd teach them how to tie their shoes and put their socks on. But there's a method to it.
Yeah, there's a method to it. And I'll tell you what, also at the top letter, I got the praise as Jimmy John, right? Because I was the man. But I said, listen, folks, take a pizza. Okay, you need a crust, you need the sauce, you need the cheese, you need the pepperoni. Okay, I'm going to be the crust and I'll be the big cheese, but we're all the same. And we're all have one mission. Let's do it. And so with process and procedure and with treating people that way and including them, you know, you can accomplish
so much.
It is crazy what you can accomplish with so few high performers. Three most important.
Now, the importance of what he was just saying in that video is that you talking about you want to go on a contract with somebody. Well, the company that you want to go on a contract got systems. What system do you have in place? What system do you have in place to protect user information? What system do you have in place to ensure that you get to work, to get to the site on time where you got to be at? Do you have backup printers? I got two and I got a third one in the corner. Do you have plenty of paper? Do you have the toner? What system do you have in place to ensure that when I send you an order last minute, it can get printed and you can be there on time? What system do you have in place to ensure that the documents get shipped out on time? See, in your contract, you got to give them assurances that you're going to do your part outside of just being happy that you got paid. My part, I'm gonna got paid. Ooh, you just a wiggling and a jiggling, but you don't do anything. Everything is late. Everything is missed. Don't know where the documents are. What systems do you have in place? See, you have to remember you're going into a contract with people within a billion-dollar industry, and they need some assurances. Notice I keep saying that. They need some assurances. They need to know that they can rely on you, that they can trust you, that you are dependable, all of that. And if you cannot show them that, then why would they want to have anything to do with you? You see what I'm saying? That's the thing. And many of you don't have proper systems in place right now. You can't even handle doing 3 signings in a day. Some of you can't even deal with 4 signings in a week because you're not organized. And all of that, you coming in disorganized, paper shoveling all over the place, and you want to like, okay, yeah, I want you to guarantee me this, and I want to put you on the contract and have you legally bound. You just opening yourself up for a lawsuit. See, this is why it's important for you to understand the difference between things. And go to the next one.
You can take a leadership
All right, listen to this one.
Comes at a cost. You don't get to do less work when you get more senior. You have to do more work. And the more work you have to do is put yourself at risk to look after others. That is the anthropological definition of what a leader is. Leadership comes at a cost. You don't get to do less work when you get more senior. You have to do more work. And the more work you have to do is put yourself at risk to look after others. That is the anthropological definition of what a leader is. Leadership.
That was the last one. So the question is, are you a good leader? They have to see something in you in order for them to trust that you are going to keep your ship going straight. And the ship is your business. And feel free to ask any questions about the notary business, all of that. That's the thing. Help me understand, y'all. If you understand this, have a better understanding of contracts and agreements, put a 1 in the chat. If you have a better understanding of contracts and agreements from what we've covered so far, put a 1 in the chat. See, before anybody can start talking about teaching you, how to write up a contract or agreement, you got to first make sure you understand what they mean. You got to make sure you understand the legalities behind it. Because if you don't understand the legalities behind it, you could get yourself in a whole lot of trouble. That's the thing. You see what I'm saying? So it's nothing wrong with wanting it, but it comes at a cost. And you have to make sure that you don't bind yourself to something that you can't truly fulfill. And with the contract, it's like you are a part, you're in this agreement for X amount of time. Think of a contract as you agreed to pay your mortgage for 30 years. You agree that if you spend X amount of dollars on your credit card, you're going to pay it off at a certain time. You bought a car and you have a contract, a leasing contract, and you're going to pay it off at a certain time. And you're going to make these monthly payments or what have you. So you have to make sure that you can deliver. If you truly can't deliver, then why are you trying to get into something? And the only reason why you're trying to bind them to something is because you want to get paid. That's really the only reason. You want to try to make them give you documents at a certain time. You want the documents to be a certain number of pages. See, those are things that are outside of your control. You can't control the functionings and the flow at the title office and say, well, I'm gonna be your notary provided you get me the documents 4 hours before the closing. You can't do that. You can't do that. And if you don't get them to me within at least 4 hours prior to the closing or the night before an early morning closing, you got to pay me an additional $50. And if you want me to print more than 100 pages, you got to pay me another $25. And if you want scans, you got to pay me another. So now you're coming in making these demands. What kind of demands are they going to expect back from you? That if you make a mistake and you forget something, you will get it done within 3 hours or less. You will stop everything you're doing and go fix what you messed up. If you don't ship the documents out on time, you will pay for it to send them out. We're going to void that FedEx slip and you're going to pay. You see what I'm saying? And my lady here said, hey, I just got my first verbal partnership from a loan officer in her company. Should I make a partnership contract or just wait for her calls and send follow-up emails? Okay, let's look at this here. Okay, what is a partnership contract? Okay. Basically, okay, I just wanted to make sure I understand. It's the same as what we've been talking about. All right. So let me. All right. What is a partnership contract? More formal, known as a partnership agreement, is specifically type of contract that is absolute crucial for any business to started by two or more people. Okay, so that's different. I think this is something different. So a partnership contract is a legal binding document that establishes rules, responsibility, rights, profit sharing, all that. See, this is when you got two individuals starting, I think, one company, if I'm understanding this right. So many business partners start out as friends and family. Yes. So see, this is why it's important to make sure you have the right definitions of these phrases that you're using. So you're saying a partnership contract. So that's like you and that title company going into coming up with a business, and no, so you can't do a partnership contract. That would not apply to this. That would not apply to this. If you understand what the word partnership contract means and what it's talking about. So it prevents misunderstanding, puts all key details, ensuring everyone has the same expectations, protects the business and partners. It shields the partners from unseen liabilities. It governs what happens if a partner leaves, all of that. So what you're talking about, no, no, that would not be the correct thing to do. Name of the partnership, the official business name, purpose of the business, all of that. I don't know why it's putting all this here. HTML stuff, contributions of the partners. So yeah, so that right there. See, this is this is not throwing any shade on you, but this is just saying, we call this, and I know what you're thinking. Oh, we're working as like a partners to get. That's not the right terminology. It would just basically be a service agreement. So my question to you now, Misha, what would you put in your service agreement with the company? Because you got to, I mean, because all they're asking you to do is just, if you are available, do the closings. So you're wanting something from them. So what is the something that you want from them? Because let's just be honest, it's a lot of times it's more so you're trying to ensure that you are somehow somewhat protected against something not going your way. You see what I'm saying? So it says, okay, thank you. That makes sense. I'm new notary, not doing loan signings yet, just out doing general notary and courier services, just trying to figure out this new journey out. Gotcha. So that's the whole point of these agreements. And that's the whole thing with, the independent contractor agreement is just saying, hey, this is what we're looking for. This is what we want from you. So let's take a quick look and then we can wrap this up. Oops, still the wrong one. There it is. All right. So let's look at, we'll take a quick look. Okay. Called terms of service. All right. So this here is on SnapDocs, this company Precision Signing Agency. So we're just gonna glance through this here real quick, like, all right. So signing professionals work group, notary signing agent code of conduct, that's the NNA stuff. So expectations for a successful signing with this company. Confirm the appointment properly. Call signers within 2 hours of accepting order. After confirming, update signing order platform. First call, if no answer, leave voicemail. Final attempt, send a text. Confirm the date, all of that. Review and prepare the documents before the signing. Download all attachments and ensure they are all complete. Check for legibility. Ensure no pages are cut off or corrupted. print PDF sizes unless otherwise specified. Special verbiage required for people doing POAs and all of that. Execution and notary responsibilities. Notice the right to cancel. Ensure borrowers fills out correct transactions, rescission dates. What else? Scan backs and deliveries. Submit within 2 hours of signing. If you don't have a mobile scanner, use CanScan app. If you got me doing a huge closing, I'm not using a CanScan app. I'm going to bring my little hind parts home. Never allow someone else to print or handle the documents for you. Never leave documents unattended. The only individuals allowed to review the documents are the notary and the signers. Talks about your dress code here. No yoga pants, sweatpants, professional attire. Any feedback regarding inappropriate dress will result in blacklisting from future signings. So all you young ladies who like to go out there in your yoga pants, stop it. I'm not being sexist. I'm just being real. You sitting up there in your little halter tops, stop it. Okay? Y'all need to stop. Y'all need to stop. Okay? You need to stop. As a notary public, you are expected to uphold confidentiality, professionalisms, deductions, and non-payments for errors. Direct marketing prohibits. Do not use this opportunity to market yourself to our clients. No business cards and closing package. No direct reach outs to attorneys, title companies, or lenders to solicit work. Violating this policy will result in immediately blacklisting. So you have to understand something. The signing company is your client. The people who hired the signing company is the signing company's client. So you should not be directly marketing to their client because you're doing it to get work. So putting your business cards, like this last closing I did, the lady had a split sign and she had her name and stuff stamped on the outside of the folder and phone number. They don't want that. That's a indirect way that you're sort of directly marketing to them. Business cards, all of that. Don't reach out to attorneys and stuff saying, hey, if you need a notary, no. Acknowledge an agreement by accepting this. You agree to all this, that, and the other. So the question being, now it doesn't say. The only thing that I think is missing in here, I didn't see anything about how they pay or how soon they pay. I didn't see that in here. Non-payment, errors, this, that, and the other. If errors cause a new loan package to be issued and re-signed, you will not be compensated for the original or additional signing. So in other words, if you mess it up too bad, you ain't getting paid at all. It's that simple. So that's just one company, okay? Other companies are a little bit more detailed. Let's see here. Let me pull up Universal Notary. All right. Let's take a look now because you're talking about agreements. All right. This is terms of service. That's what it is called. Oh boy. That's typeset is tiny. All right. Let's look at this and then we can bounce up out of here. So this is for Universal Notary. It says Universal Notary, this and other, all over the place, 40,000 signers. Engagement hereby engages you and you accept such engagement, subjects of the terms and conditions set forth in this agreement. So they're not even calling it a contract. It's an agreement to perform mobile notary signing service on behalf of them. The compensation in consideration for your performance of the services here written agrees to pay you the amount specified and arranged at the time of accepting the order from them. If a particular signing requires you to make more than one trip, you will be paid per trip. However, any additional trips must be authorized by them, their representative, or you will not be compensated for such additional trips. So in other words, if you forget something and you got to go back and get it signed, then you need to make sure you got your, you ain't going to get paid for that because that's something you messed up. But if they need you to go back and do something, you got to get it clarified, authorized. Then here it talks about your payment, monthly payment by the 15th of each month, this, that, and the other. Expenses, universal money, we shall not be responsible for expenses incurred. So you shall be responsible for payment of business expenses, taxes, all of that. Termination, this shall be an effective and remain in force and effective for 1 year unless earlier terminated provided. So all of that. Either party may terminate this agreement at any time. Upon termination or expiring of the agreement, Universal Notary for any reason shall immediately return. You shall immediately return to them documents, promotional material, all of that. Talks about what you're responsible for. You must act and dress professional at all times. Unprofessional attire will not be tolerated, as quality control checks are often implemented. You agree to act only as a notary under this agreement and not give legal advice to customers. So let me zoom that in a little bit more. This is why I harp on this, because it said you're only there to witness the signatures. So all these people teaching you to run your mouth about the documents, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. All these people telling you what to do, that's a huge problem, because that ain't what you're supposed to be doing. They're not looking for you to give them legal advice. So all of this talk, and let me come back to y'all for a second. All of this talk about, oh, you're just guiding them through the documents. You're not giving legal advice. Says who? Says who? Notary trainer that wants my money to sit there and listen to you tell me I'm not guiding them. I'm just guiding them through, and I'm not giving them any legal advice. Show me legal proof. Show me some documented proof that in accordance with my state guidelines, what you're saying is correct. I don't care how many years you've been in this business. You've been in 10 years, you 10 times 10 percent wrong. You got to show me proof. If you can't show me proof, then I'm not taking what your words say. And it's awful. I find it awfully interesting and strange how they want you to take their word when it comes to that, oh, you're just guiding them through, but they can't give you advice on how to properly notarize certificates, the signature, and fill out notarial certificates. They can tell you what's legal, isn't legal advice, but they can't help you to understand how to fill out a notarial certificate. That's a bunch of bull. I'm telling you right now, they're full of it. Okay. So as you see here, this is the agreement. So now they're saying they shall not be liable for any damages arising out of. See, when I did my check, it was like that might not necessarily fly in certain states. That might see what you do is copy this here and put it into DeepSeek or ChatGTP and ask to say, hey, can you tell me what legal concerns are there with this independent contractor agreement in accordance with my state laws? And it'll come back and give its advice to you. It's not legal advice, just what it thinks. Okay. So any other questions, any other concerns that you have concerning contracts? I hope you have a better understanding, and somebody signed up for the training. Thank you very much. Denise, thank you. Look forward to seeing you on tomorrow. Again, this training is really designed to help you be able to do your job. When you're doing your job, you ain't got to worry about the contract. There's so many companies that hey, come on, let's go. Let's do this job. Let's do this work. I'm like, all right, cool, let's roll. Sometimes you don't always need a contract. But the problem is that a lot of notaries, they don't know how to do their money right. And this is why a lot of them lean to apostille, general notary work, is because they want right now money. Personally, all the ripping, running back and forth, driving to the Secretary of State, shipping documents here, shipping documents there, I don't like that. I personally don't like it. I don't. R&D teaching you to just pay them, and title does not case as long as it gets done. Yeah, it doesn't care as long as it gets done. It's no sweat off of their back if you exceed your role as long as you're commissioned on that day. Yeah, nobody cares. As long as it gets done, it's on you to whether or not you should have been doing it in the first place. So I hope this helped. I really do. I really hope this helped. I hope this clarifies some stuff. Again, we got the 3-hour Zoom training tomorrow, 12 to 3 on Saturday, 3 to 6 on Sunday. The registration is right down there at the bottom. Let me do this real quick. Right there. There you go. Also in the description. And lastly, like I said, this isn't personal. People come out online and say make statements and they talk about stuff. And I don't care whether you're a man or woman or what have you. If it don't make sense to me, I want to question you about it. And if I feel that I'm not, and if I don't think that you're willing to talk, and I know some people don't because this is what they, but I have to throw questions out there like, okay, what is this, that, and the other. And I have to throw it out there to the broader public, in my opinion, because the question went out to the broader public. So let's have a bigger discussion. And what I want y'all to do is ask specific questions. What's the end game? You said we need to do this. We need to go at this person. We need to make them do this, make them do that. Okay, how do we go about doing that? And what happens if they say no? You see what I'm saying? So you're going to do what you want to do. And you're going to believe what you want to believe. And they're hitting some pain point in you. And if you feel that it is your right to make somebody give you what you feel you deserve, then go for it. Go for it. Do you. But don't get upset with other people who don't. And what I'm seeing is that people who want to make somebody do something that is probably outside the scope of what they should be doing, they get upset with the people who have figured out how to work with them. Oh, this is how Villa Title works. This is how First Class works, coast to coast. Got it. I can flow with that. This is how cloud signing works. Somebody may say, I can flow with that. Then let them. You do you, let them do them. But this thing of trying to make everybody come, all notaries come in lockstep, nah. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. You're an independent business owner. You do what's best for you. I got agreements. I got things popping for me, and I am happy with them. It's just that simple. I am thoroughly happy with what I got going on. Period. And I'm going to keep it going, and I'm going to make my money, and I'm going to take care of my family, and I pray that you're able to do the same. You need help, you know I'm here. Channel membership, join. I hope to see you at the training tomorrow. Other than that, y'all have a good one. Talk to y'all later. Peace.